massive debate is currently underway across the country over the Common Civil Code or the Uniform Civil Code. There are a lot of theories that are doing the rounds, but in this edition of The Right Stand, we will try and bring to you what the law actually offers, what the law will change and how it will impact our lives. Here on The Right Stand, we will attempt to bust all the myths and bring to you the bare facts of the Common Civil Code. But before that, ahead of the Parliament showdown, the Parliament panel today chaired a meet with the Law Commission over the Uniform Civil Code. The panel met all stakeholders, and top sources tell News 18 that the opposition actually questioned the NDA government's hurry on implementing One Nation, One Law, or the Saman Achar Samhita as it's called, and said that the law is being brought keeping in mind the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. The BJP and the NDA, however, debunked these claims and said that the law is for a progressive India. Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, it's after 9 years of the Modi Sarkar that the government is actually talking about a uniform civil code, something that's been enshrined in Article 44 of our Constitution, and our founding fathers have envisaged it back in the 50s itself, and we are in 2023. But let's get to what the talk is and the debate is around the Uniform Civil Code and what it actually impacts. Here is what it will impact if the Common Code is implemented. 5 aspects of civil contracts among citizens of our country: marriage, divorce, maintenance, inheritance, adoption, succession of property, so that's inheritance. So these are the dynamics that will be covered largely under the ambit of a common civil code or a uniform civil code. And here's what the UCC will not affect. The most important is that implementing a uniform code doesn't mean imposing majority code on minorities. It doesn't do that. UCC won't impact your social status. It doesn't change that. It will not impact on your affirmative status, that is reservation. UCC will not impact on your living, that is how you worship or your culture. And UCC doesn't affect the traditions you have grown up with or the rituals you follow for weddings. Vidhi nahi badlegi, par vidhan ek hoga. That's the simple description in terms of, can we follow our own processes for marriage? Yes, you can, but the rules will be common for everyone in terms of what will bind that contract. In the UCC, is the UCC need of the hour? Does India really need a common code? Now, here are some of the reasons. One law for the country in civic matters. It will propel society towards equality. Men and women will get equal rights in family structure, social structure, equal partnership for men and women in marriage, a common law to govern a secular nation, a boost for gender justice and women's rights, and it is needed to end child marriages and polygamy. And of course, dysfunctional laws in the current day and age, personal laws in the current day and age, ladies and gentlemen. As told by the government, the Uniform Code, if implemented, will replace laws for all communities. For example, for the Hindu community, the Hindu Disposition of Property Act 1916 goes away. The Hindu Marriage Act 1955 will get impacted. Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act 1956 gets impacted. Hindu Adoptions and Maintenance Act 1956 gets impacted. Hindu Succession Act 1956 gets impacted. The Indian Divorce Act 1869. For the Muslims, the Musalman Waqf Act 1923, Muslim Personal Law Shariat Application Act 1937, Dissolution of Muslim Marriages Act 1939, Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Divorce Act 1986, and the Qazis Act 1880. For the Christians, Indian Divorce Act 1869, Indian Christian Marriage Act 1872, Indian Succession Act 1925, and Marriage Dissolution Act 1936. Other laws like Child Marriage Restraint Act 1929, Parsi Marriage and Divorce Act 1936, the Anand Marriage Act for 1909 for Sikhs, all these will get impacted. They may perhaps be debunked or defunct because you have a common civil code. It's not only India. Several other nations have a UCC. The United States, Italy, France, Ireland, Australia, Canada. Then, Islamic nations in the world usually have a combination of civil laws based on traditional Shariat law, but it's a common law. Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Turkey, Egypt, Malaysia. So it's a common civil code based on Shariat in the Islamic nations, and otherwise based on the principles of democracy in all these nations. Many people suggest that UCC is against constitution, but nothing could be further from the truth because it's enshrined in the Indian constitution. Article 44 lays down that states shall endeavour to secure a UCC for the citizens throughout the territory of India. What is UCC? Basically, one law for all religious communities in personal matters such as marriage, divorce, inheritance, adoption. This is one of the directive principles of state policy. It is not enforceable by any court, but principles laid down are fundamental in governance. The Prime Minister has highlighted that even the courts have time and again spoken about a UCC. Here's what the courts have said. Supreme Court during the Shabano case, a common civil code will help the cause of national integration by removing disparate loyalties to law which have conflicting ideologies. Supreme Court in the Sarla Mudgal case said where more than 80% of citizens have already been brought under codified personal law, there is no justification whatever to keep in abeyance anymore the introduction of UCC for all citizens in India. 2019, the Supreme Court said founders of the Constitution hoped and expected that the state shall endeavour to secure for the citizens a uniform civil code throughout the territories of India. Till date, no action has been taken in this regard. Justice Prabha M. Singh of Delhi High Court in 2021 said, in modern Indian society, which is gradually becoming homogeneous, the traditional barriers of religion, community and caste are slowly dissipating. UCC should not remain a mere hope. Those backing the laws claim that Uniform Code celebrates diversity and strengthens unity. Common civil law for all citizens, promoting national integration and secularism, would foster a sense of unity and harmony among diverse communities, would enable interfaith marriages and relationships without any legal hurdles or social stigma. Argument 4, gender justice will empower women throughout uniformity, no polygamy, unequal inheritance. Argument 5, streamlining laws for legal efficiency, single code to replace complex and overlapping laws. Argument 6, this would enhance clarity, ease of implementation and reduce the burden on the judiciary, ensuring more efficient legal system. The 7th argument, UCC can be seen as a sign of modern progressive nation, implying that it has moved away from caste and religious-based politics. But the misinformation that's doing the round, ladies and gentlemen, plot against minorities living in India, false. Interference in religious matters, false. Aim to wipe out cultural diversity in India. Minorities can't run educational institutions. All these are false claims. Listen in to what Union Minister Piyush Goyal and also Arif Mohammad had to say.
Absolutely for the Uniform Civil Code. We are waiting to see what shape it takes, how it comes up. Uttarakhand had set up a very high-level committee headed by Justice retired Srimati Ranjana Desai. They've come out with a report. Let us see how that works. Let us see how the public reacts to that report. And let the situation evolve. I think people are jumping the gun too much. Ultimately, it's a directive principle of the Constitution. 5 times the Supreme Court has suggested to the governments of the day that this is something which will be good for India, which is the need of the hour, and which will bring more cohesion to the nation's polity.
If Muslim personal law is so integral to the practice of Islam, why Muslim people do not take a stand and issue a fatwa that no Muslim should live in countries where personal law is not enforced? Why everybody wants to run to USA? Why they are going to Europe? No personal law is there. So Islam can live, Muslims can live in USA without personal law, in Europe without personal law, India, in Pakistan without personal law. The process of reform of traditional Muslim personal law is started in late 20th century.